life isn't always fair, and everyone has their problems. It's easy to hide away and harder to find solutions, but I know this for sure. This ain't a dress rehearsal.
And g'day everybody. Welcome to How to App on iOS. My name's Jade. You are listening to the awesome Pete Johns from his brand new EP called Maybe, which has just been released today. In fact, he just had a live stream himself, playing it for the first time. So what is this all about, you ask? This is How to App, and what we basically do here is I take an app each episode from iOS, iPad, iPhone, and in 20 minutes I do something with it. And today what I'm going to be doing with the app in question is Grand Finale. It's a mastering app, and in 20 minutes I'm going to take Pete's entire EP and I'm going to master it. So hopefully you get some tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. Let's move over to my main screen. Hi everybody, thanks for joining us. I can see Pete's here. Let me turn my computer around so I can see the screen a little bit better. Hey, what's going on, Patrick, Sion, Scott, Pete? Thanks for joining me. SM Borthwick, good to see you all. Okay, so here we are with this fantastic album, which I've been listening to all morning since it dropped. I think, to be honest, just for a joke, I thought I would go over to Apple Music at about, 3 a.m. in the morning here in Australia, and I thought, I wonder if it's out yet. I doubt it. He's only just uploaded it, and what do you know? It was sitting there. So I think I played it 6 times. I even went and put a review up on iTunes. You could say I'm a little bit of a fan, just a little bit. So I just want to thank Pete before I get on and do this crazy little video. This is, as I said, episode 2, and hopefully I'm going to do one of these every day, and hopefully everybody gets something out of it, because I've been asked a heap to do this kind of thing. But I want to thank Pete so much for actually trusting me with his amazing songs. I'm by any stretch not really a good drummer. I've only been drumming for a couple of years. I've only got my first drum kit in the last 6 months, an electronic drum kit. So he put a lot of faith in me, and I really thank him for that, for letting me be a part of it. And I think it's a fantastic EP. And every time I hear it, I'm just absolutely stoked to be on it. So hopefully maybe he'll do some shows and he'll hire me as a real drummer, or maybe even for future endeavors. So let's get into this now. I've yabbered on enough, because normally I'll waste 10 minutes crapping on at the start. And then I've got 20 minutes to do what the task is. And today's task is to remaster this EP. So what I'm going to be doing is doing it in an app called Grand Finale. If you don't know what this app is, here it is on the App Store. I thought I had it up there. There it is. I can't remember the price. I think it's like Australian. It's probably around $15 or something like that. Because I've paid for it, I can't see the price. But here it is. Look, it's only an iPad app. It's not for iPhone. Basically, it's from Clevgrand, and what they do is they streamline everything down so it's super, super easy. So look, why I'm doing this today is not really to remaster Pete's EP, because he's done a fantastic job in GarageBand as it stands. But I want to show people you can actually do things outside of GarageBand. I want people to feel confident in being able to master their music and not to be afraid of it. Because I see a lot of people worried about mastering. They've spent so much time on a mix, and that's stressful enough. But I just want people to understand that mastering is a piece of cake, And the first tip I'm going to give before we actually get into it is you need to rest your ears. And this applies for anything to do with mixing or mastering. If you're sitting there swatting over a song, listening to it, mixing or mastering it, and you're doing it for longer than 13 minutes, take the headset off, walk away from the speakers, and go do something else. You need to rest your ears. Your ears are one of the single most important instruments as a musician. And if you damage your ears, you're going to damage your song, because I don't know if anybody else has done this before. You've spent maybe an hour and a half sitting there swatting over this mix, and you wrap it up. You think it's fantastic. You go to bed, you wake up the next day, and it sounds like dog shit. It always does. So thank you, Pete. You are a fantastic mod in the chat there. This is payback for all those times. I love it. Putting the price in. So yeah, rest your ears. So this is why today I'm doing it in 20 minutes. And you'll notice I'm just going to whip through these songs. Each song I'm probably going to take about 2 to 3 minutes on, and that'll be mastered and done. So let's open up another app, which, God, we talk about all the time, because it is just, if you don't have this on your iPad, get into it. It's just, Audio Share is amazing. It does so many things. You know, zipping up files, editing stuff, sharing between other apps. It's fantastic. And it's integrated into Grand Finale as well, which is really cool. So we're going to start with Perfect, because it's a song Pete ended on today, and it's perfect. And this is going to be a very imperfect, very imperfect thing that I'm doing here. So here's Clev Grant. You've got 1, 2 panels across the top. You've got 4 across the bottom. It's a very simple layout. I've got all of the settings set to 0, so it's all at default settings at the moment. Now down the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see there's an import section. And look at this. How cool is it? I'll just go to my full screen here. Be a bit better. Sorry, guys, in the chat. You'll see down the bottom there, it has an Audio Share import immediately, so you don't have to do anything else. Click on that file. Perfect. Import into app. Simple as that. How easy is that? iOS is just so damn good. Right, so it's in here. We've got a flat sounding desk. Shit, I better make sure that I've got sound hooked up here, because that's the one thing I don't think I did do with so I'm using Reflector 3 on Pete's advice, and you'll notice, Pete, I don't know how this has worked for me, but my reflector has no lag whatsoever. It must be my video card. So that's a good thing. Let's test the sound here. Yeah, we got sound, so that's good. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is just start the song, give it a play, where it's at. Sorry about the levels. I'm sure that woke you all up if you're in Australia, definitely.
Life isn't always fair.
Okay, so if you look at along the top here, you'll see that. Where's my
Everyone
mouse?
has their problems.
These little bars here, they're hitting around, what is that, 18? They're just touching on that, below that. So that's going to be the peak of this song. So let's stop that song. What I'm going to do is, down the bottom here are your main options. You've got your import, you've got a bunch of presets, you've got a project folder where you can save your projects. And how that works is, once you've mastered a song and sent it over to like Audio Share, and you save that project, it saves the actual music file with your settings. You've got an info button here. I don't think I've ever clicked on that once. That's the first time ever. And then you've got your export button right on the far right there down the bottom. How we're going to start this is we're going to go with a preset just at the beginning. And I'm just going to click on a gentle master. Oh, let's go back a little bit first. So you've got a bunch of selections here. You've got a master. For mastering, that's so the overall thing. You've got bus masters, drums, vocals, bass. So, I mean, you can import vocals, guitar parts. separate and then re-import them into your actual project that you're working on before mastering it. Right, so we're going to click on master, and we're going to click on a gentle master just to start off with. And there we go. So you can see a few settings have changed here. Mainly in the top left hand, and all the bottom 4 have changed a little bit apart from the stereo tool. Okay, so let's see what it's automatically done to this mix. Let's get it back to the start. Wow. As you can see, that has pumped that song up massively.
Life isn't always fair.
Right, so we've jumped from 18 across the top here to about 12. Now when I'm mastering, and I don't use Grand Finale very much, I normally use Final Touch. But I have been using Grand Finale for some of the projects that I have worked on for Wrestle Talk and some podcasts that I've done music for. So I've been using Grand Finale for that. As it is, that as a master is pretty damn good right there. That's the level I'll normally aim for. So the peaks are hitting on the 12 across the top. I could be happy with that right now. But what I am actually going to do is pull back some of the compression on here, because with compression, trust me, less is more. So you can see I'm pulling that. That was about 3/4. I'm going to pull this back to around 35. And you're probably not even going to hear a difference in that. And also what I'm going to do is, if you look up here at the output, what are we with output? So we're at 4.61 dB. I'm going to pull that down to about 3.6. And instead, I'm going to go over to the distortion. I'm going to move that up about 5%. Not much at all. Because I just want to give it some dirt and kick. And I want to make it sound a bit grubby. And that's what you want. With instead of volume all the time, sometimes it's good to just grab the song and rub it in the dirt, especially if it's a rock song. You want to grind it up and give it a bit of grunge and a bit of grit and feeling. So that's why I'm adding some distortion. So let's have a listen to it now. And hopefully I've still got those sitting around 12. Perfect.
Life isn't always fair.
So that's sick to me. Now you obviously can't really hear the difference from what I've imported into, but once I export it, you'll see the difference in how much the actual waveform has raised, how much the peaks have changed, and how it's sitting. It's gonna look more like a sausage, but it's not gonna be touching the edges. I'm not trying to make it a block. I don't want to make it a death metal song. I want to still have the dynamics in this song. Because Pete's got so much dynamics in his music, you really don't want to over throttle any of his songs, really. The other thing I'm going to do before I look, and why I normally go with this basic light compression, is because it's just simple. And you'll see even the multi-band compressor down here, look, the settings for this, I don't know why, they always seem to be really nice. They don't change the sound too much. They're all very average on the second from the bottom. Second from the left. The only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of stereo width, because I'll always do that nearly on every track, and only about 30%. And that's going to make me happy, okay? I'm just going to right now throw caution to the wind. I haven't listened to it all the way through, but I can see probably, let's have a look towards the end just before I do it. I reckon that's a goer. I'm going to send an export. Let's just see what it looks like an experiment. Let's do that. So we'll name it. We'll call it Imperfect because it's my master. And yes, that is my Apple Magic Keyboard. You can hear me tapping on there, which I love to death. Now this will take its time, so I'll just click away back over to the chat, see how everybody's going over here. Excuse me. stock presets are pretty loud on this. Okay, I do agree. That's why I normally like try to pull it back just a little bit. And it all depends on the music that you're mixing, because the only stuff I've really done on this has been podcast stuff. So really dancey, poppy kind of stuff. It's the first time I've really done anything with Pete's song. I did use Final Touch Pro when I mixed Hold On for his single last time, and it was I think I'm more used to using that than Grand Finale. Anyway, I'm actually excited here. This is like Tats Lotto. Waiting to see my lucky numbers to see actually what this looks like compared to the other track. All right, so we want to save this into audio share. And look at that. That's really big. See, that's too much. To me, that's too much. You can see, right? And there's a reason why I did this. If you look at the end here, these right at the end, it's completely flat. Completely flat. And to me, like, if this was a death metal song, I would love that. That would be absolutely perfect. If I was mixing Metallica, that would be absolutely what I'd be seeking. But I'm not mixing Metallica at all. So what I'm going to do is scrap that. Actually, I'm going to leave it here for now. I'm going to go back to Grand Finale and let's do this. I'm going to pull the output down. Where are we? To there. Take it to the end.
To be wonderful. To be wonderful.
I'm pulling this right down to 0 now. And you can see, like, these points here, they're just not touching that 0 there. So that's going to make a considerable difference. Right, so let's export that and then compare the two. Call this imperfect 2. As I said, look, I'm rushing through this for 20 minutes, but the reason I'm going to spend more time on this than any other songs is because once this is done, because there are 3 other rock songs on this album, on this EP, they're all pretty much going to flow around the same. I can pretty much use the exact same settings for that. The only one I'm going to have to change around a little bit is things have changed because of it being a acoustic piano and vocal track. Excuse me for a minute. Let me have a look over here at the chat and pull my mic over so I can. I didn't wear my glasses today. That's really stupid. I just answered Sion there. So in Reflector, you can actually choose to have the iPad background or not. You can get rid of it and just make it a square. It gives you a silver background and a space gray background. So if you're really pedantic, you can match it with your particular iPad, which I've done, which is pretty silly. All right. Look at that. To me, look at the difference there. All those peaks, there's no flat peaks compared to the last one. Let's get back to the main screen there. Look at that. All at the end, that's where it counts, where it gets louder. So let's have a play. Oh God, I hate this. It's a bug with audio share I've found.
Life isn't always fair.
I'm going to stop that and quickly head up to the original. Look how small that is. Now, Pete's explained it many times. I know most of you frequent both Patrick and Pete's pages. Mastering is basically just volume. It's all like EQ. It's all about volume. But it's about maintaining dynamics. That's the most important thing, in my opinion, of mastering. Unless you're doing full-on metal, you don't really need to worry about dynamics. But stuff like this, let's stop that. It's all about dynamics. You want to maintain the dynamics of a pop song, a rock song, any kind of commercial music. The dynamics you really have to do your best to maintain if you are mastering a track, because so much work has gone into mixing the track to keep those dynamics that you really want to just bring all the peaks into some kind of even formation, but keep the dynamics. I can't stress it enough. It is the most important thing to do. So let's go back to Grand Finale. Let's import the second track. I'm going to keep those settings. In fact, let me just head back to, I'm going to save this project. Thank you for joining me today also on this, my second attempt to do this. So that'll keep the song in its memory and all of the settings that I've just made. We're going to go with No Apologies now. Import that in here. Let's give it a play straight away.
Maybe I spread things a little too thin. Maybe I'm trying too hard just to win. But my intentions wrong.
Okay, I'm going to be straight up. Why this is so easy just for me, like for the next few songs, I can pretty much go for this. I'm so confident just to like use the settings that I have for it, because I know, being involved with Pete's EP, that he has swatted so much over this EP. Okay, absolutely swatted over so many intricacies. I even remember he messaged me yesterday and he was playing the tracks on I'm gathering a little Wi-Fi stereo speaker, and he was still saying the vocals sound a little bit loud. And I'm imagining that speaker isn't really that good. But so I know he's really swatted over it, and I can see all the levels in his songs are at such a really consistent type that I'm just going to go for this right now. Plus, I've got to stick to my 20-minute time limit. So let's export this one. Where are we? There's No Apologies, isn't it? God, I couldn't think of the name. How bad's that? I came up with the name of this song and I couldn't even think of what it was. It's early in the morning and I don't have coffee and I don't have any red. I've got my vape. That's about it. So while this is going, and the reason I'll just explain to you guys too why I'm using Clev Grind today. I'm planning on doing another video on Final Touch for something that I'm working on, just to show the differences, and that'll be far more like intensive. I probably won't do a 20-minute video on that because Final Touch is really complex. And look, if you are looking into Final Touch, another thing you can do with Final Touch, I'm not sure if you can do it in GarageBand. I know you can do it in Audio Pro. You can actually use Final Touch within a DAW to do your mastering within the DAW, much like Pete mixed down and mastered this EP in GarageBand. I'll have to check if you can actually use Final Touch that way. Okay, once again, let's have a listen.
Trying too hard just to win, but my intentions were always the best. Maybe I don't always do what I say. Maybe the deadlines are missed by a day. But I'm here to tell you I'm trying to learn, and I'm running as fast as I can.
If anything, with that one, I reckon it's probably a little bit too bassy. But then it's really hard to tell with bass. I'm listening through headphones at the moment. So look, I'll tell you another thing with mastering and mixing with bass. It's one of the hardest things to actually get down, trust me. And you can obsess over it so much. You can go to a car stereo. You can go to, you know, all these different speakers, but the bass normally always sounds different on everything. It is really hard to get a consistent bass sound. So what I'm going to do for this one, just taking a punt here, I'm going to open this up now in Grand Finale. And what I'll do, I'll put a link up on my channel after this with all of these masters, so you can have a listen to them for yourself on headphones, to hear what they sound like. Okay, so we'll do, where are we? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Life is long and long. It's gonna be a long time. Hold on, 'cause it's gonna be a long, long time. Hold on.
Okay, as you might have noticed there, I went over to the bass here in the equalizer and I pulled it down by about 20. And I'm just going to do a export of that. And I probably would go back with the other, with the last one at least, and remove some of that bass. But that's the beautiful thing about digital audio, okay? You can make as many mistakes as you want, and you know what? Making mistakes is okay. In fact, what I want everyone to do, if you're going to work on any music today, make sure you make some mistakes, okay? Make some mistakes for me, because they're the best things to do. They're the things that will propel you further with any audio that you are doing, because you learn from them, okay? If you're not learning from them, if you're not paying attention to the mistakes, then they're a bad thing. But you really have to like appreciate those mistakes and kind of revel in them, because they are the things that are going to make everything better. Sorry, I just had to cough then. All right, so once this is done, I'm going to jump into the second last track, quickly run off another one, and then I'm probably going to spend another few minutes on Things Have Changed, just because it's a different kind of song. Yeah. That's the shit. Look at that sausage right there.
Life is long and you have much time. You're in a rush and you don't know why.
Already I can tell just pulling that bass out has just been enough. So let's do this. Where are we? And we want Fence Sitter. Again, there's not going to be much I'm going to need to do to this, because again, look at the levels of it. It's virtually the same as every track on here. Let's give it a listen.
I have a lot of thoughts, but I may not say a lot of them.
I'm glad to hear that mobile metal.
Words come out
Lots of mistakes.
every now and then. Think a lot of things.
I'm just going to find the highest peak in this song.
Sometimes I like to keep my thoughts to myself.
Man, I'm digging that. This EP is such a... It's going to sound really... It's a really buttery EP. It's really smooth. Like, Pete's done a really fantastic job. I guess, you know, to having such a good template of material recorded with these songs in the past was a really good yardstick. Where are we? Okay. Fence Sitter. Okay. God, I've gone a little bit over time. Probably crapped on a little bit too much at the start there. So we're just over 20 minutes. But I'm just going to pull off a mix for this last song, and then we're going to be done. Then I will go ahead and I will zip these folders up. I'll put them on one of my share servers. So if you would like to grab them and have a listen to yourself and maybe even compare them to Pete's album, just knowing that you've been here, you've seen how I've rushed through it in 20 minutes because I don't want to exert my ears. Normally I would do, one song at a time, take a break for an hour and come back. And don't stress over it. That's the point of me rushing through this. Don't stress. That is the main thing I want to teach people is do masters, walk away, go and take a break, go do something else, play PlayStation, come back, listen to them again, and you're gonna find the right thing that works for you. If you do it 50 times, it doesn't matter because it's all digital zeros and ones. You can delete them. They're like selfies. You can just get rid of them if you look ugly in them. Trust me, I have a full bin of photos of myself that look like that. All right. So let's have a quick listen to this. Cool. Now what I'm going to quickly do is just skip between all the 4 songs here. And you can see they're all sitting fairly close. Now if I was particularly anal, I would probably work a little bit more on Hold On and maybe bring it down a little bit to make it just more in line with Imperfect. So No Apologies and Hold On I would probably just bring down a little bit with the output. Alright, so let's skip over to Grand Finale for the last track here. And I've kept the best till last. I just love this song. It is absolutely one of the most beautiful songs I've heard. Okay.
Like everything, this too shall pass. This too shall pass.
Okay, basically all I did there, and what I'm going to stick with right now because of time, is I actually put the treble up. Yeah, I put the treble up by 10, and I pulled the compression down by 10 up here in this add section. Now the thing I'm going to do for this track is I'm going to bring the stereo tool up to 50% for this. Because it's so minimal, I want it to really spread out a little bit more and just make it feel like you're actually surrounded completely by Pete and his piano and those subtle strings that are in there. So let's just throw this out there. Things have changed. And boy, things have changed, haven't they? I'm getting quite sick of looking at Facebook at the moment. It's so depressing lately. And if anybody who does know me on Facebook, I'm probably the complete opposite of Pete. If he labels himself as a fence sitter, I'm probably an obnoxious, loud bitch on Facebook. My opinions are always thrown around like monkeys throwing poo at somebody at the zoo. Okay, so while this is rendering, I'll wrap up. I hope you've got something from this today. As I said, I will zip these up and you can have a listen to them. You'll see I really didn't pay much time to this. I just threw them together. I got a basic thing of what I thought sounds good. And look at that. Look at those peaks. There's still plenty of dynamics in this song, but it's on the level of the other songs, right? If we just scroll down a little bit, it's still sitting around those peaks and there's still heaps of dynamics in it. So it's not going to drop down in sound or anything like that compared to the rest of the songs. And they're all going to sound around that same level. They're not going to be distorted or anything like that. Okay, so that is about it for me. I hope you've got something out of this today. I hope you'll join me every day I do this for 20 minutes. I've got apps coming up. Let's just close my iPad. So some of the things I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks, I have an absolute shit ton of apps here. I'm going to be going through some DAWs like Cubasis, you can see here, through even Fruity Loops, BandLab. I'm going to even play with Launchpad for those who haven't really seen Launchpad. Audio Recorder is like this really insane AUV DAW you can have within GarageBand. Have a DAW within a DAW. It's really incredible. Going to be doing some stuff on orchestral music with iSymphonic. Going to do a whole 20-minute thing on iSymphonic. Vocal effects, I have plenty of those sitting on here. Plenty of drum things I'm going to be doing. And guitar sims, guitar amps, all that stuff. And over this weekend I'll be doing Bias FX 2. How to get a metal guitar sound in 20 minutes. Studio ready. And then I'll be doing a follow-up on how to get a funk sound for some kind of chili pepper shit. Oh yeah. So that's what's coming up. That's what I'm going to try and do every day here for 20, 30 minutes kind of thing. I hope you've got something out of this. Thank you, Pete, for allowing me to play on your album and using your stuff today as a guinea pig. And thank you, everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with me for this period of time. I hope you all have a great morning, day, evening, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you on the next episode. So until then, you all take care and thank you very much. If you'd like to find out more about my music before I go, jadestar.com.au. Adios, amigos.